Hey friends, I wanted to show you a little bit of what I've been working on this past month and give you a little mini tutorial to one of the techniques that I shared in my 100-day project that people have been asking about. So let's get started. So the first thing I want to share with you is the journal that I completed this year along with the 2024 Journal Jumpstart cohort. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about that. This is the original journal. It's a Strathmore travel watercolor journal. It's perfect for Journal Jumpstart. It's really small and I love it. But the sad news is this journal has been discontinued. So we've located one supplier who has a few hundred of them left, but my Journal Jumpstart ladies are really gobbling them up because it's amazing. So I was looking for a way to replicate this form factor because we like a small journal for Journal Jumpstart. So I happen to have some of the Strathmore. This is the watercolor travel pad, and I have a little stash of them here. But unfortunately, it's also discontinued. But I was like, well, I can at least do a proof of concept with it because this is fantastic. It has 12 sheets, 140 pound, 300 GSM Strathmore watercolor paper. And I really love this paper. It's 100% cotton paper. It's cold press, but not super textured. And the thing that's really nice is the back of it has a very sturdy backing on it because it is designed as a travel pad. So this is what I use to do my Journal Jumpstart work in. And this is the finished journal. So you can see how thick it is compared to the other one. So it's much thicker. I am not really good at bookbinding, so I basically would paint a page and then I just folded them and glued them all together. So the back of the journal is all of our resource materials, and the front of the journal is where we do our work. So yes, I really like the way it worked out. For the cover, I cut the back of the pad in half. And so you can see I just glued another sheet of paper to it, a watercolor paper from my stash, and it worked out. It worked out really well. So I like this. I don't know that I like it for what we do in Journal Jumpstart. I think this would lend itself more to a year-long journaling process. So I love it, and I just want to share with you, I'm super excited about my word of the year, which is the last thing that we do in Journal Jumpstart. And so the quote that really kind of led me to the word courage is from Mary Oliver. The stars began to burn through the sheets of the clouds, and there was a new voice you slowly recognized as your own. So with that, I thought, yeah, I really like courage. Last year, my word was release. After the fire and all of everything that I went through, I thought courage would be a nice one to walk through this year with. You can see at the bottom, I list all my words of the year going back to 2016. I like to have a record of those. So yeah, I thought this was really nice. And then I have another Mary Oliver quote on the front. Like I said, and this is just watercolor paper I've used as the cover. I think I might put some type of sealant on it. But I really love how that turned out. So that's one thing I've been working on. You know what? I wasn't going to do this, but I'm going to do this for you. I'm giving you a little peek. This is the little 100-day project. So those of you that have the 100-day playbook, you're going to get a separate email and a full walkthrough. But for those of you that are not doing it, here's a peek. So my intention was just to feel flow and relax my brain and to continue to practice creating without resistance. So I'm using this little watercolor journal. It's a 4x4. And each day I'm limited to 4 tools. I'm using the 100-day playbook so that I have a word for each day. And yes, it's kind of a challenge because I only have the 4 tools to use. So sometimes I will just long for more tools, but I'm not doing it. All right, so let's hop over to a little tutorial for today. This was one, let me see, it actually was one, came from it came from this one in the in my 100-day project. So this ring was actually created when my puddles of color were wet, and I set my water jar on top of it and then used the heat gun to dry around it. So wherever that liquid watercolor puddled and pooled, it darkens. So I wanted to give you a few little ideas of what you can do, how you could use that within your practice. It's really a fun thing to do. So let's see, I'm gonna scoot this over a bit. I am using actually I was decanting these colors into some of the newer bottles that have stoppers on them. So let's just use these lids as little containers for us. Had a little bit of liquid watercolor left here. Yes. Okay, let's get these over here so I'm not dripping it across my paper. All right, so this is one of my favorite techniques, is to have wet little puddles on the page. You know, I use a lot of water as we're trying to create abstract textures, and I absolutely love this. Oh, I just saw this too. I'll show you also how you can use the edges of a jar. These have little bumps, and you can use this to create textures on your page as well. So let's get started, and just looking at my colors, I've been doing a lot with the orange and the blue in my 100-day project, like the first 10 days or so. I don't know about this green, so I'm gonna kind of be a little gentle with that green, but I'm not afraid of diving in with the orange and the blue. So let's just put some on the page. I'm using the Canson mixed media. This is what we use when we do the creative meditative flow practice. We use it in Journal Jumpstart too for our practice pads. Well, let's just get some, see how much water I'm putting on this. See the sheen of it? Yeah, lots and lots of water on there. So I'm gonna rinse out my brush, and then I'm gonna grab some of the blue, and I'm gonna let it, you know what, I might not even need much green. I'm gonna place it on this page. Let's come around the edges. Oh, that's fun. All right, so we have our water on the page. We've got lots of it. Now, let's see what we can do. Now I'm gonna take my jars and I'm gonna set them on. I'm just gonna place them on there. I don't know what that would do. Let me see. I'm gonna explore. I've got some smaller jars. Let's put those on as well. I'm just gonna kind of set these on. All right, I'm gonna mute for just a second while I hit it with this. I've got my heat gun. Okay, so let's see what happened. Oh, check this out. See that? You've got a little bit of that ring. Oh, nice. There's another one. Ooh, okay, so see how we start to have those little puddles and little textures. So sometimes what I'll do is pick it up and then see where it's still a little bit wet. You can use it kind of as a stamp. Ooh, and so this one has a lot on it. So what I'm going to do is just move that over, place it again. So now I can use this to create some little rings and some textures. Let's take this one up a bit. Nice, 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 nice. This is so much fun. Yeah, so you can just let it dry, or you can come in and you can make it dry with the heat gun. So that was a way to make the rings on it. Now I'm going to see what happens when I take I'm going to take blue on top of the orange, and I'm going to use, this is, you could also use like if you had an aspirin, ibuprofen bottle, any type of childproof cap that's got that ridge on it. Sometimes those make can make a really interesting pattern. So see, I'm going to add some blue paint. This is on my little Nalgene cap from my little water bottle. And let's see, okay, it has a little too much water on it to create a good pattern. So what I have instead of a good pattern is I have kind of like a hot mess little pattern. Well, that did not work as well as I intended. So let's see if we can turn it. Oh, look, yeah, so I can just take this bottle. This is another bottle of the Eco line. Oh yeah, so now I can just take it on there, and I'm pressing it and twisting it on the page. All right, that's not the worst thing I've seen. So it didn't work out as I intended, but that's how we learn things, especially when you're playing with textures and things like this. You're going to just explore with trying things out to see how they work. Now, the other thing that I like to do, see how we have these little puddles of color? You can use those as a palette. So I have a brush. I'm just picking up paint from what's on the paper. And then I can use this brush and then just add details. So this might be a style we would use in, like I said, in a creative meditative flow where we're just kind of tinkering about and seeing what's on the page. All right, so one thing worked and one did not work as well. So try, next time you're exploring with your watercolors on a journal page, get some little puddles of water. If you end up with too much water on the page and you're like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do with that? I encourage you to just set some jars on it, some things that are round that have a little bit of weight, and then dry it off and see what happens.